It's been a while, but I hath returned. Welcome back to Let Us Play Transistor.
Head on in. Coast is clear. So it's true. Red, let's go. While we still can. Used to be how many good drinking joints here? Caddies. Seaside. Cloud Alley.
I'm not taking any risks today. If I see white stuff coming out of the ground, I'm gonna summon my dog, cause I would have to summon him sooner or later, and I'd rather do it sooner than later. And it turns out I was absolutely right summoning my dog right now, because the Cheerleader 2.0 amplifies the target's battle capabilities. It just makes them stronger while they're shielded. And since they're not gonna fight fair, I'm not gonna fight fair either. Like, you saw how quickly they finished off my dog. That just means I have to summon more dogs. I just need more dogs. If only there was a function that made you have 2 dogs instead of 1. Like, that would be... Nah, that's not gonna happen. That would be too OP. The game wouldn't let you have that.
Okay. Snapshot's shooting faster.
Now, as you just heard, these battle amplifications that the cheerleader can provide to its bros, to its friends, are different from enemy to enemy. Like, the snapshot just attacks faster, other enemies have more projectiles, and others just kind of deal more damage per hit. It basically takes what's already annoying about that enemy and makes it more annoying.
Now,
At least the cheerleaders themselves don't get shields. Like, imagine that. You can't attack the target because it's shielded. You can't attack the cheerleader because it's shielded. Like, what are you gonna attack? Thin air? Are you gonna run away? Nah, that's just... I'm just glad that doesn't happen in this game. I'm just glad it doesn't happen ever. Anyway, now that we've cleaned up the top enemies, let's deal with the enemies further down below. And there's yet another cheerleader with weeds. Fun. Situations like these can be pretty frustrating, especially if you have multiple cheerleaders, a larger amount of weed, and other enemies that can take advantage of both. Fortunately, you have a dog. And just like a real-life dog, you can throw him at things you don't like, and it will just kinda attack them until they die or the dog dies. At which point you can get a new dog. It's just like real life. Anyway, I'm glad I kept my distance here, because the snapshot doesn't trigger unless you move like really close to it. And that kept it out of the range of the cheerleader and the weeds, so I could like thin them out before I got myself into this mess. And if you manage to coordinate your attacks with your dog and with yourself, then you can do that in one turn. You don't have to flail around aimlessly waiting for your turn to recharge while your dog kinda just dies. You don't have to do that. I'm just showing that off so that you don't have to do that anymore in your game. But yeah, that's one of the things I like about this game. It forces you to be at least a bit methodical in battles. Anyway, our next goal in the story is High Rise District. And it's right around the corner, and oh boy, this doesn't look good.
See this? This is what the Camerata want our town to be. I'll miss this place. Going up.
Up close, it
Should be able to.
doesn't actually look too bad. I expected something like never-ending story tier shit where just everything's gone and there's these white, like just everything's just plain white that hurts your eyes and you think you're going blind. But no, this actually looks just like just one of the houses got the process treatment, and everything else pretty much looks the same as normal Cloud Bank. Except now there's weeds in the elevator. That might have not been the case in the past. But then again, what do I know? Maybe that's just normal here. And let's be honest here, every one of us has met a creep or two in an elevator. Let's not kid ourselves here. So maybe this is just normal. Maybe nothing's wrong. Maybe nothing's wrong at all. What's definitely wrong is that breach can knock targets out of your follow-up breach, so you shouldn't abuse it too much. But I'm still gonna do it because it's the most powerful function in the game, at least for a while. If you're using a controller, then of course it isn't, because aiming skill shots with a controller, it didn't work in Bastion and it doesn't work here either. It's just painful. Oh, and those things, those are just the security cameras of the elevator. Yes, I know them well. Everything's just fine. There's nothing wrong with my home district. Everything is perfectly fine and normal.
Close one. Almost there. Welcome to High Rise. Welcome home.
See, everything's just fine. Everything's perfectly okay.
Load up. Uh-oh. Heal.
Neighbors must have left the dogs out. Typical of them. Like I never liked the things. They're just way too aggressive. They don't know how to handle dogs. They just let them do whatever they want. And then they start attacking people and barking at them and generally being rude shits. So my dog and I are gonna have to put them down and simultaneously take care of these weeds because the gardener must have gone on vacation. He must have gone on vacation. Yes, that's probably what happened. You see, I would have been really worried if the process had reached high rise, but it seems like it's just a normal day here. Everything's just kind of like every other day. Everything's just fine and dandy here. I don't know why I was even worried in the first place.
Bad boy. Let's keep moving. Used to be able to see the bay from here. Might as well stop in. So the word is out. If anybody's left to hear it. Whole town's being held ransom. Best view in town. It's strange coming here. Like this. Can't imagine what it's like for you. Well, at least Junction Jan's delivered. Harvest garden with extra greens. Flatbread delivery still going strong. Not so bad when it's cold.
Of course my pizza arrived. It's just a normal day in high rise.
Locked yourself out. How are you gonna... Oh. It all looks fine from up here. Can't even see the canals.
You all saw that big white worm in the background. Whenever that worm is close by, the transistor will start glowing red, and our friend in the transistor is having a bad time whenever the worm's nearby. So your goal should be to get away from the worm as fast as possible. Unfortunately, this is scripted, so the speed at which you finish battles or something doesn't actually affect his state. You just go through the level as normal, and at a certain point the red glowing stuff stops. On one hand, that's kind of a shame because they could have done something interesting with it. On the other hand, this isn't the kind of game that would force you to go through a level fast or to rush through. So I can see why they didn't do it. We don't have time to consider his feelings, however, because we got a level up to do. This time we can choose between get or ping. Ping is basically just tick damage. Ping is tick damage. Ping has absolutely no turn costs, and by no I mean very little, and it reduces turn costs when you equip it as an upgrade, and get is basically a magnet. Get is gonna be useful later on, but doesn't have much use now because the function I want to equip it to isn't available yet. Ping, however, is always useful because I can just put it in Breach's upgrade slot and get more Breach for less cost.
You know, I never thought much of a high-rise. Far from the water. Then I found out you lived here.
Known in elite social circles throughout Cloudbank, Miss Rice organized many of the city's popular public events, from groundbreaking ceremonies to contemporary festivals. She was everywhere, and yet somehow she made time to lead a second, hidden life. As one of the Camerata, Ms. Rice was responsible for gathering information about potential high-value targets, people who could contribute to their cause. She did this job to perfection, drawing no notice, though one target in particular caused her much frustration. Ms. Rice met Red while putting together a small program for up-and-coming artists, and became infatuated first with Red's music, then with her. According to diary entries, there was something inscrutable and confident about Red that Ms. Rice could not explain. However, Ms. Rice was frustrated to find that Red grew distant. Through all this, Ms. Rice observed the aloofness of one of Red's companions, and decided he must have been insinuating Red against her. Ms. Rice thought through various ways to rectify this. One night Ms. Rice nominated Red as a target for her Camerata colleagues, citing Red's surging popularity in the city and her unusual set of selections. Red could substantially advance the Camerata's agenda, and was not yet so ubiquitous that her sudden disappearance couldn't be sufficiently disguised. Ms. Rice promised that the Camerata could get to Red at a time when she would be completely alone. Trace data reveals an 85% chance she falsified this claim,